Hey there mates, today I've got something special for you. We're diving into creating an aura behind the character, an eye glow inspired by Molob, and a unique ghost shake that breaks the norm. Stick around until the end because there's an extra bonus effect coming your way that's guaranteed to level up your editing game. No time to waste, let's jump straight into our first epic effect. Okay, so here's a Sasuke clip, and I want to add this super cool effect behind him. First things first, let's duplicate the clip a few times and rename all of them to make this process easier. Now, before actually adding the effect, we've got to remove the background. For that, you can either mask or rotoscope it. If it's a moving clip, then definitely rotoscope it. But if it's a single frame, then I suggest you to mask it. I'll skip the detailed explanation of rotoscoping because as my viewer, I'll assume you're already a pro at that. Now, the mask might not look perfect, but that's alright. Copy that same mask onto the middle layer and also add a key cleaner on the top layer. Our effect is gonna be at the middle, sandwiched between the normal and the background. This large dot-like feature allows you to preview only the layers you selected among the options. And since I want to edit the middle layer, I'll enable it. Let's focus on the effects now. Add a S-Warp Chroma effect on the middle layer. After that, change the steps all the way to 100. This clip also seems to be sucked in quite inside, so to fix that, change the Z-dist to 0.8. And finally, change the brightness to 1.5. After that, we're going to add a tourbillon displace on the same clip. Keep the amount somewhere between 150 to 200 and change the size to 20. I think I'll change the amount back to 150, yep. Now, to bring the effect to life, animate the evolution through keyframes, starting from the defaults and then reaching 1. You can obviously keep it higher if you want more of the wiggle. Finally, top it off with a deep glow. But if we toggle off the large dot-like button, the background seems to disappear. So to fix that, simply check the unmult option and boom. The effect's done, but it seems quite off, right? So let's add some more effects and refine it a bit, shall we? Add curves on the bottom layer and pull it upwards or downwards depending on your clip's lighting. This way the glow gets more exposure and attention. You can also do that by bringing down the opacity. Just press D to pull it up. We are almost there, but if you want to take it a step further, add some brightness and contrast to a new adjustment layer and adjust the contrast according to your clip's lighting. It's not mandatory to use BCC. In fact, you can just use the default effect. Now on to the second effect, we're creating a Molob style eye glow. Download the overlay from the description before we begin. Now, pre-compose the main layer with Ctrl-Shift-C cause we're gonna work in a separate composition. Now, hold the overlay and drag it into a composition. Next up, add a linear color key effect to remove the black screen. If your goal is to remove the background from the overlay, then you can also change the blending mode to screen. I think I will flip the overlay, yup. Once you've sorted that out, animate the overlay to drag the eye's position. Press P on your keyboard, hit the keyframe button and move the overlay through your mouse cursor every time the eye moves. Duplicate the main layer and not the overlay. Then add a SH detect to get that distinct look. The edges seem to be way smooth, but we don't want it that way. So just change the edge smooth to 1 and maybe tweak a little bit of threshold too. Then throw in a deep glow and play around with the tint for a personalized touch. Now, once you've done that, hit on the toggle switches button from the bottom mid left and then change the tick matte to alpha matte. Again, for refining and compositing this effect, you can obviously add another curves and mess with it. Time for the third effect. Let's make an inverted ghost shake with a twist. Hit Ctrl and D on your keyboard to duplicate the clip. Keep the bottom layer unchanged, but on the top layer, press S to bring up the scale. Hit the keyframe button and then animate it to go from 100 to 135. Hold Shift and press T to bring up the opacity too. But for this, you want it to go from 100 to 0. Highlight both the keyframes and then press F9 to easy ease. Open up the graph editor and change the graph type to value graph. Now, pick the handle and move it like this to make a graph similar to mine. Do the same for the opacities graph too, but change the graph a little bit. With that, we already have a pretty decent ghost shake, but that's not our goal. So let's fine-tune it a little more. Add an invert effect on the top layer and change the channel to luminance. Again, add a black and white effect on the same layer. You can also do this by bringing the saturation to 0, but I personally prefer this effect. Here is a pro tip. If you want to control the duration of this effect, like make it shorter or longer, then you can try changing the distance between the keyframes for both the scale and the opacity.
Hello guys, LancAE here. Before we continue, check out my epic YouTube channel and show some support to a fellow editor just like you. Comment, your PP is small, and who knows, you might get the next shoutout.
Now, last but not the least, we've got this cool glowing kind of effect. Press Ctrl-Alt-Y to create an adjustment layer and match its timing to the clips. After that, add S-Motion Detect. We're not gonna tweak any settings of this effect, so just head on and add Deep Glow on the same layer. And then change the radius to like 500 and exposure to 1.5. Then add a 4-color gradient on the same layer. But wait, that just messed up the whole effect, didn't it? So to fix it, simply change its blending mode to color. Don't select the screen like we do in other effects. You can also choose the color option even though that works fine. Now change all 4 of the colors to the one you like. I want the main theme to be like purplish, so I will change all of them into different shades of purple. To be honest, you just need to have a good taste in colors if you're gonna change these settings. For the last one, I'll just leave it in blue. Press T to open up the opacity and hit on the clock thingy to place the keyframe. Now, move to the end of the clip and change the value to 0. Let's have a little preview. It looks good enough. Now, highlight both of them and hit F9 on your keyboard to easy ease them. Wait, before you click off, you might probably know that I gave away my free editing pack in the last video, but many of you were having a problem on how to install it inside of your After Effects. So here's a quick installation guide for you all that works not only for this, but every other preset pack. After you've downloaded the pack, hit the extract button. But as soon as you do that, it asks you for a password, so just enter 2024. You can get rid of the zip file after you've extracted it. Now the pack consists of 2 folders. One consists of different assets while the other one contains purely presets. So what you want to do is just copy the preset file. Then right click on your After Effects and head over to the file location. But this is not where you want to paste it. So head to presets and finally paste it over there. Hit on the continue button and there you have it. The link for the pack is in description. This is a must-have and moreover free. And yeah, don't forget to join my Discord server. Okay, so now that you learned effects like Molob, but effects don't seem so good without proper SFX. So click on the left side of the screen and learn how to do SFX, and that too like Molobs. But if you don't want to watch that, then just click on the right side and explore more tutorials from me.